3 pets were killed. Fox 5's Bob Barner live from the scene in Haymarket with those new details on how this all went down. Bob.
You mentioned it this time yesterday. This was a raging inferno behind me. Take a look. The house that blew up is not there. The house you see is the next door neighbor's. What's left of the house that had the gas leak, the explosion and fire, is there on top of these 2 cars in the driveway. The house was actually back to the left there, further into the woods. There are a lot of questions, concerns, and heartache here tonight.
It's sad. It's devastating.
Rob Karras and his wife Mona were home across the cul-de-sac from the house that exploded Tuesday, claiming the lives of 3 pets, 2 cats and a dog. Up close in the daylight, you get a sense of the destructive force of that blast. Rob sharing with us this video and other images of the inferno he recorded.
Facing this way with the house to my back, and I hear this boom, and I just get pushed. My whole back, and last night my whole back hurt, and I was in pain, and then it blew out my garage, and then there was some debris, and then a couple windows landed right in the middle of the street, maybe like 30, 50 feet from me. So it was crazy.
Another neighbor pointed out this bowling ball that ended up in front of his home, rocketed out of the house that exploded.
There was one gas person here, and he was wandering around, and after it exploded, everybody was looking for him. We didn't know where he was, and then I found him on the side of my house. I was like, here he is, he's over here, and he was shocked. He was visibly shocked.
Sky Fox was over the scene Tuesday late afternoon. The house on Colby Hunt Court in the gated golf community of Piedmont here in Haymarket. Prince William County fire officials telling us a contractor replacing a water line to the house struck and ruptured a 2-inch gas line. After neighbors smelled the gas around 4:15 Tuesday afternoon and called 911, 8 nearby homes were evacuated. About an hour later, the explosion.
I mean, I'm in shock, really. I just can't believe that.
I'm going to talk about when things go wrong, okay? The system's not perfect. Things do happen. As you saw in that video, that was a real explosion that happened. Very nice homes, very gated community, and things happened wrong, but things happened right. Called 911, evacuated the house. An hour after the hit, the house exploded, and nobody died because things were done right once something bad did happen. So that's what we're going to talk about, what to do when things go wrong. Here's an excavation site. You don't want that to be your job site. Though he did stick the landing on it, run away. He died, and he got himself clear of the area. Okay, it's going to happen. You're out there digging. Everyone's done their part the best they can to mark out the facilities that are in the ground. But like we heard from prior presentations, mistakes do happen. You might not have been digging carefully. Something may not have been marked. What happens next is important, okay? So what do you do? This was a job site that I was on last year. They're digging, they're trenching, and they come across they see some gray top pipe come up out of the ground and crack. What is this? And you look, and here it is. You see it's filled with dirt, it's kind of, top's broken off it. What should you do in this situation, right? You don't know what it is. They knew it could be electric, they knew it could be, didn't know if it was electric, so they actually got the blow pipe and used air to clear around it, didn't touch it until they figured out what it was. And they exposed it, found it was telephone, and they contacted the phone company to find out why the marks were missed. So if you ever uncover something, make your best effort to identify what it might be. Use extreme care when uncovering it, digging around it. A few years ago right here in Southington, a homeowner was digging on his property, he had a call before you dig. He was using rental backhoe. He was using a rented backhoe. Found similar situation. He went down with a shovel and by hand to pull it up to see what it was, and it was a live electric line, and he did get shocked. So if you see this, use care, don't touch it. Use blow pipe, use something to clear it without touching it, and contact the utility company. We talked about doing the site walk. walk in the site after you've done your call before you dig. You get your marks. Everyone's responded. You do your site walk. It's very important. What do you do if you don't get a response from a utility? If somebody's on your ticket and you didn't hear from them or don't have marks on them, what do? You contact that utility. Okay? You need to contact them right away. Here's an example. You can see that a ticket had been called into this area. There's some communication marks, but we have a transformer here and there's no electric marks. Okay. This is a red flag. Something went wrong. If you have this happen, don't excavate. Call the utility company and have them get out there. Sean's going to talk later about how to report to PURA. Okay? Our job is to make sure everybody follows the rules. It's not only excavators, but utilities as well. We only know if there's problems if you let us know. If you're not getting markouts from a utility company, let us know. File a report online, or at the end, we're going to give you our contact information. We're going to give you our contact information. Feel free to call Sean or myself. We can fix problems when we know about them. Like I said, so here is on the bottom of your ticket. So when you show up at a job site, make sure all these have responded. If not, here are the phone numbers that you should call. Okay? Now, if you damage a gas facility, what you do after the damage happens is critical to making sure everyone stays safe. The first thing you need to do is stop work. Shut down the job. Just stop. Call 911. We changed our regulations a few years ago to make it a requirement that if there's a short circuit or a release of gas or a dangerous situation, you must notify the emergency services. Call 911. If you have a local officer on your site on traffic detail, he'll have his radio on him. A lot of times, just talk to him. He can quickly call dispatch and probably get the fire department rolling. Okay? That's the first notice that's got to be made. The fire department will get there much quicker than the gas company will. The fire department, homeowners may not listen to you guys, but they'll listen to firemen, right? Fire department can shut down the street. They can take control of the situation to make sure it's safe. So call 911 first, get the fire department there, and let them make the scene immediately safe. Clear the area, okay? After that notification to the fire department's made, if gas is blowing near where traffic is moving, stop traffic. Have some of your guys go out there, stop traffic. Stay away from the hole. I know there's a temptation to walk over to look in the hole to see what you broke. Don't do that. Just back away. Call the utility. Okay, once you back away, call the utility. If it's a gas line and you know the gas company in your area, start calling their dispatch. There's emergency contact info on cbyd.com. On the website, you'll find a tab for emergency contact info. I recommend everybody either bookmark that in their phones, or once in a while print a copy and have it with you. So if you have something happen, you'll have that number handy. You should notify adjacent properties. Okay? If you damage something out in the street or on somebody's yard, go knock on their door. Knock on their door. Tell them, hey, we broke something. We think we broke something. There might be a gas leak. We just want to make you aware. If you pulled on the service line to their house, you may ask them to leave their house. Okay, step out. We don't know where gas might be leaking. Until the fire department comes here and assesses and figures out what's going on, let's be safe. You might want to step out of your house. Like I said, stop traffic if necessary. Don't let vehicles be driving by, because a vehicle coming by could ignite gas that's leaking. And whatever you do not attempt to stop the flow of gas. We have a lot of people feel like it's a small half-inch line, it's not blowing that strong. They'll go down there and they feel like they can bend it over, okay? You are taking an immense risk when you do that. What happens if a plastic gas line is blowing gas, it's building up static electricity really quick. When you go to touch that, it's going to ground out to you and create a little static charge, and that's enough to ignite the gas. So you don't want to have that ignite while you're holding it, because that's going to be right in your face. Okay? Sometimes you might break a gas service and it's got an excess flow valve on it. It's a neat safety feature where gas will be blowing, but it'll just be slowly weeping. You'll smell it, get down close to it. Some people try to bend those over. Okay? What's going to happen is you bend it over, that flow valve, the back pressure will build up, the flow valve will reset, and then it's going to be line pressure again. So if it's just weeping, just let it be. Call 911, call the gas company, let them come out and take care of the situation. These are some of the things that we've seen of homemade repairs. This top picture, the gas line eventually failed with a corrosion leak. When they dug down, they found that somebody had put a big gouge in it and then wrapped it up with duct tape. Duct tape is not rated for gas pressures. We see a lot of people, they use duct tape and copper pipe, or some copper pipe and some hose clamps. We found these things, okay? Never touch a leaking gas line and try to repair it yourself. Our regulations has a maximum civil penalty of $40,000 per violation, and there's only 3 situations when I can impose that. If there's a fatality, significant injury, or you tamper with a facility. That's how serious we look at tampering with facilities. A home repair could leak later in time and cause an explosion. Okay? Other things to do is we've seen situations where somebody's digging and they break something and there's gas blowing out of the ground. They'll take the excavator bucket and put it down on top of the leak. That's not going to stop it. Okay? All that's going to do is make it much more difficult when the gas company gets there to try to shut it off right where it is. If it's a broken line, they might be able to get a squeeze-off tool in there and squeeze it off. If your bucket's in the way, they won't be able to do that. Don't bury it. I've seen somebody had a 60-pound leak and they try to bury it, thinking that the dirt will stop the gas leak. It doesn't. The gas is 60 pounds. It'll continue to blow. So don't bury it. Just makes it much more challenging to fix a situation in the future. Do not operate valves. We've had people, you break something and you say, hey, there's a gas valve over here. I'm doing water work, I got a valve rent, I'm going to shut the valve. Do not do that. We had a situation, I think it was Loomis Chafee School, large school. Somebody got into a 6-inch, 60-pound main. It was blowing pretty good on the property. It was safe, the fire department was on the way. Maintenance guy said, hey, I know where there's a vault with some valves in it. I'm going to shut this off. So he went down, drove down to where the vaults were out near the street, opened the vaults, broke into them, and started shutting valves. Well, he shut off gas to the whole town of Windsor, which actually improved the supply of gas going to his leak. It made the leak worse, and then shut off like 1,400 customers. Never operate a valve, because you don't know what that valve is. You don't know what the right valve is, so do not do that. Like I said, doing any of those activities, you can get the highest level of civil penalty. So just to show you, this is a situation that occurred last year down in Southbury. Somebody put a tooth through a 60-pound gas main. You see the gas company working it. You got guys down in the hole. It's a very dangerous job. And what you'll notice, they're in full flame retardant clothing. They're wearing self-contained breathing apparatus because gas can asphyxiate you because it displaces oxygen. Yeah, they're fully covered in FRC. So if it were to ignite, hopefully they won't get burned. This is the type of thing that need to be done to work on gas lines. So none of you are equipped to do it. So do not do it. Back away. Let these guys show up and effect the repair. Another thing you might run into is if you pull up a gas service. See here, you get the steel gas service ends up in the shape of your excavator bucket. Steel does not stretch that well. Generally, it's pulled out from somewhere. If you ever have a situation like this, recognize that it's pulled out from a coupling somewhere underground. It's likely blowing somewhere else underground. It may not be readily apparent right after you do it, but this is where it's extremely important to notify adjacent homeowners that there could be a gas leak somewhere. Call the fire department, get somebody out there. This is a real-world example of a case that I was on down in Greenwich. Top left picture, they were removing sidewalks. They were going ahead, they were breaking up the sidewalk, and then using the machine to pick up the concrete and load it into a dump truck. And they pulled up this pipe. It kind of looked like an old pipe. They didn't think much of it. They didn't call the gas emergency number. They just called somebody that they knew down at the gas company. Said, hey, we found this pipe, not sure what it is. What happened was this was an old steel service with a copper insert. So it's a copper gas line inside this. The bottom left picture is the curb valve, which is actually up near the house. And you can see it pulled out from the coupling there by about 10 inches when they pulled it up out on the sidewalk. So gas was leaking there, and they didn't notice it right away. They just had this pipe. They continued to work on the sidewalk, pulling up concrete. Eventually, gas did fill that structure. About half hour later, there was an explosion inside that building. So it's very important. If you ever pull up a gas line, contact the gas company right away. Contact 911 right away, and notify adjacent houses. This is another real-world example. This is not in Connecticut. This is in 2022 in Pennsylvania. It was a Sunday morning. This Pronto Plumbing was there to fix a sewer line. They called an emergency ticket. Marks may or may not have been put down. They pulled up a gas service by the house. So they did the right thing. They called 911. You can see firefighters are on site. They're milling around. They evacuated the house. And they called the gas company. When this video is taken, the gas company got there. There goes the guy with the valve box. Okay? So they're very glad that they got everybody out of that house. Because anyone who's in the house, they would have made it. So, and you can see the other thing, and it's always amazes me, is how many explosions happen like an hour after the line was damaged. And gas has time to migrate and get into the structure. So don't let your guard down, follow all the steps, call 911, call the gas company, clear the houses. All right, if you damage electric, stay clear of damaged electric lines. You don't know if they're energized, you don't know where the power is, you don't know if a breaker tripped. It can be very dangerous. This is one incident that we had, which I find absolutely amazing. They lost a 345 kV transmission line, which is underground transmission line, highest power that you ever had. It's pretty significant. It went out. Power company took a few days. They finally figured out what it was. Somebody was setting a pole, and they had rocks, so they got a drill out there, and they cored through. And the picture on the right is actually the 345 kV transmission line cable. And you can see the half moon that was taken out of it by them drilling the hole. They are very fortunate that the safety system worked because they never even noted that they hit anything because it tripped so quick. But it does a lot of power. Bottom left is something you may uncover. You see he's in the machine and he pulled up some electric lines. So you pull them up, stop, call the power company. Get somebody out there to check to see if they're alive or not. Don't go in there to mess with them. You don't know if they're alive. So, and all damaged utilities. The law requires you to immediately notify the utility owner. So if you break the water line, you contact the water company right away. Don't backfill it, okay? Even if it's a broken communication line, you broke it, you've called them, Frontier is going to be coming out within the next month to look at it. Sorry. They should be dispatching somebody promptly. Don't backfill, leave it exposed, so when they do get there, they know where it is and they can effect the repair. Notify even if it's slight damage, okay? If you're working around a steel gas line, it's got a cathodic protection coating on it. If you're hand digging down it and you put a slice of that coating, which I understand can happen, call the gas company because now you've damaged that coating, it's a spot where corrosion can occur. They will come out and effect a repair of that coating properly. I know most gas companies, I can't speak for sure, but most of them will not bill you for that. They want to make sure that their stuff is protected. They don't want to discourage people from calling. So just call, have them come out and fix it. We talked before, if you break tracer wire, if you're digging around a plastic gas line and you accidentally sever the tracer wire, call the gas company, they'll come out and they'll put a clamp on and they'll reconnect that tracer wire to make sure they can locate the facility in the future.